Now, the theory of a spontaneous generation, or this is also called a abiogenesis. This theory simply tells that the life forms is developed from the non-living things. This hypothesis was supported by ancient Greek philosophers like Thales, Anaximander, Xenophanes, Plato, Empedocles, Aristotle. According to this theory, life was originated from non-living things spontaneously. Do you know the word spontaneously?
Yes.
What does this mean?
Like random or like not planned.
Hmm?
Like not planned.
This is not a random thing. Spontaneous means anything happens by its own. Happens by its own. Okay, that no any external energy or not any external force is required for happening of anything. That is, you can the best example is that a waterfall. That water always fall from high altitude to low altitude. A air current, that air always flow from low temperature to high temperature region. Okay, and decomposition of dead and decaying matter, these all things happens spontaneously without any requirement of external force or any external energy. Okay, so according to this theory, that a non-living thing spontaneously get converted into a living things. They believed that they believed that the mud of the Nile River, see, mud of the Nile River could give rise to a frogs, a snake, and crocodiles. So only the mud of the Nile River is responsible for the development of frogs, the snake, or the crocodiles. Okay. Abiogenesis was strongly supported by von Helmont. So this theory is strongly supported by von Helmont. He claimed the formation of mice in 21 days if a sweat-soaked dirty shirt is kept with a wheat bar. You know the wheat bar? What is wheat bar? Tell me.
I don't know.
Wheat barn is the cell, or we can say that the husk of the wheat. Okay, husk of the wheat. Uh, so when the dirty, sweaty shirt, dirty, sweaty shirt kept with a wheat barn, this after the 21 days, you will see that there is a formation of mice according to the von Helmont, how the mice forms. Can you imagine how this theory get developed by these scientists? That a dirty, sweaty shirt, when kept with a wheat board, you will see that after 21 days, there is a development of mice inside that. Okay. These are the some theories, abiogenesis theory. So this theory of the spontaneous generation was disproved by Francisco Reddy, Larzo Splangi, and the Louis Pasteur. So we will see that how these theories get disproved by these scientists. We will see the experiment of Francisco Reddy and the Louis Pasteur. These two experiments are more famous. So the theory of biogenesis. The experiment of Francisco Reddy, which supports the theory of biogenesis. According to this theory, life originated from any pre-existing life. Pre-existing life form. Okay. But they failed to explain that how these first life, that pre-existing life forms get developed. But let first Darling, na. उनको अभी
कद्दू खट्टे ने कहलियै नहि खेबो तऽ केना जल्दी तब कहलकै ला जबरदस्ती खाइ छी
ठीक छै जो।
तीने गो ना
Okay. So the Francisco Reddy is not a believer of abiogenesis. So he did an experiment to disprove the theory of abiogenesis. Okay. So, however, one of the Van Helmont's contemporaries, Italian physicist Francisco Reddy, performed an experiment in 1668 that was one of the first to refuse the idea that maggots spontaneously generate on the meat left on the open air. He predicted that preventing flies from having a direct contact with the meat would also prevent the appearance of maggot. See, in the first experiment, he put a meat inside. This meat is cooked. He put the cooked meat inside the open jar, and after some time, he observed that there is a formation of maggot in the meat. Okay, maggot, a new life. Okay, but in the second experiment, he covered the jar with a cork, a tight cork. Okay, cork sealed container, and you will see that he observed that there is a no formation of maggots in meat because there is no any direct contact of flies with the meat. Okay, now he covered this with a cloth, or we can say the muslin cloth. Okay, and after few days there is a formation of maggots, no formation of maggots in the meat because these flies are not in direct contact with the meat. You will see there is a no formation of maggots in meat, but there is a formation of maggots on the cloth. Okay, because these flies get attracted towards the smell of this meat, and after that somehow there is a formation of maggots, that is the reproductive progeny of these flies which developed on the muslin cloth. So this says that life always forms because of the presence of pre-existing life. So these flies are the pre-existing life forms which develops the new life form, that is maggots. Okay. Similarly, that you will see here, he predicted that preventing flies from having a direct contact with the meat would also prevent the appearance of maggots on the meat. Reddy left meat in each of a 6 container. Two were open to the air, two were covered with a gauze, and two were tightly sealed.
रोस्टर है कुछ रोस्टर है
Hmm.
या तीन
Two were opened to the air, two were covered with a gauze, and two were tightly sealed. His hypothesis was supported when maggots developed in the uncovered jar, but no maggots appeared in either the gauze covered or the tightly sealed jar. He concluded that maggots could only form when flies were allowed to lay eggs in the meat, and that the maggots were the offspring of flies, not the products of a spontaneous generation. Understood about the experiment? Any confusion? You are not audible to me, Reni.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes. So, do you have any confusion related to this experiment?
No.
So, can you tell me how this experiment disproved the theory of abiogenesis?
Because it proved that for life to form, there has to already have been life, like before that.
Yes. So, the formation of maggot is not a event that happens because of any non-living things. These maggots are the progeny of flies. So, because of the presence of flies, there is a development of maggots on the meat. Okay. So,
Mhm.
as in the second and the third jar, flies are not in direct contact with the meat. That's why there is a no development of maggots on the meat. Okay.
Mhm.
So, this disproves the theory of abiogenesis, that a life form is developed on the non-living things.